the shepherd, who became king. He started a war that destroyed his father's kingdom. He betrayed his brother's trust, but he defeated the mightiest Greek hero. And while many considered him a coward, he won the heart of the most beautiful woman. He is Paris of Troy, the prince who sacrificed everything to satisfy his desire. But deep down, he harbored a darker side, that of a selfish boy, abandoned by his parents, a young man with a troubled mind looking for instant gratification, and a man who fails to control his desires. Loved by some gods and hated by others, he was destined to bring darkness to the lives of his loved ones, even before he was born. Queen Hecuba, wife of King Priam of Troy, experienced a disturbing dream while pregnant with her son Paris. Hecuba dreamt that she gave birth to a flaming torch that caused the entire city of Troy to burn down. The seer and prophet Aesicus interpreted the dream as a dire prophecy. The child to be born would be the cause of Troy's downfall. Priam and Hecuba decided to take drastic measures to prevent this prophecy from coming true. They ordered a loyal servant, Agelaus, to take the newborn Paris to Mount Ida and abandon him there. Agelaus placed the infant Paris on the mountainside and left. But upon returning 5 days later, he found the child miraculously alive, fed by a she-bear, which he took as a divine sign. Agelaus decided to save the child. He took Paris home and raised him as his own son, keeping his true identity a secret. Paris grew up as a humble shepherd. He was described as exceptionally handsome. He possessed a striking appearance and a natural charisma that would later influence his life. Oenone was a mountain nymph, an Oread, and the daughter of the river god Sebren. She lived on Mount Ida, where she met and fell in love with Paris. Oenone was known for her beauty and her skills in healing and prophecy. She possessed extensive knowledge of medicinal herbs and had the ability to heal any wound. Paris and Oenone fell deeply in love and eventually married. They lived together happily for some time. Oenone warned Paris that if he ever abandoned her for another woman, it would lead to catastrophic consequences. Around that time, a contest was set up by King Priam of Troy, who sought to determine which of two bulls was the most beautiful and deserving of sacrifice. Paris, still a shepherd at the time, was chosen as the judge. One of the bulls was Paris's own, and the other belonged to the god Ares, or was the god Ares himself. Paris had to decide which bull was more deserving based on its appearance and qualities. Despite his initial hesitation, Paris ultimately chose Ares's bull, recognizing its superior beauty and magnificence. His choice was celebrated, reinforcing his growing reputation as a figure of discernment and fairness. The wedding of Peleus and Thetis was a divine occasion, attended by all the gods and goddesses. However, Eris, the goddess of discord, was not invited. Upset by this slight, she decided to cause trouble. Eris appeared at the wedding unannounced and tossed a golden apple among the goddesses, inscribed with the words, "To the fairest." The goddesses Hera, Athena, and Aphrodite each claimed the apple, leading to a heated dispute. Unable to resolve the quarrel themselves, they turned to Zeus, but he declined to intervene, instead suggesting that Paris, who was known for his fairness, should decide. To influence Paris's decision, each goddess offered him a bribe. Hera promised Paris power and dominion over all of Asia. Athena offered him wisdom and skill in battle, and Aphrodite tempted him with the love of the most beautiful mortal woman in the world, Helen of Sparta. After deliberating, Paris awarded the golden apple to Aphrodite, captivated by her promise. Paris did not know that Helen was already married to King Menelaus of Sparta, a fact Aphrodite neglected to mention. Not long after, a grand contest was held in Troy. Paris, despite his humble upbringing, decided to participate. During the contest, Paris showcased extraordinary prowess and skill. Cassandra, daughter of King Priam and Queen Hecuba, was endowed with the gift of prophecy. She suspected that Paris was not just a common shepherd, but actually the son of Priam. Fearing the prophecy that Paris would be the cause of Troy's downfall, Cassandra tried to persuade her brothers to kill him. Despite her warnings, her efforts were unsuccessful. King Priam and Queen Hecuba, noticing Cassandra's distress and observing Paris closely, realized he was their long-lost son. This revelation stunned everyone, including Paris, who suddenly found himself elevated from a simple shepherd to a prince of Troy. One of the most consequential events, following his recognition as a prince, was Paris's journey to Sparta. During his stay in Sparta, he met Helen, the wife of Menelaus, the king of Sparta. While Menelaus was away in Crete attending his grandfather's funeral, Paris and Helen developed a close relationship. Some versions of the myth suggest that Helen fell in love with Paris and went willingly to Troy, while others imply that she was abducted against her will. Menelaus, upon discovering Helen's departure, invoked the Oath of Tyndareus. It required all of Helen's suitors to support and defend her chosen husband, Menelaus, if she was ever taken from him. This oath united the Greek leaders, compelling them to join forces against Troy to retrieve Helen, thus leading to the Trojan War. When Paris returned to Troy with Helen, King Priam and Queen Hecuba did not overtly scold him for his actions. Priam, despite understanding the potential repercussions, welcomed Helen and supported Paris. In stark contrast, Hector, Paris's elder brother and Troy's greatest warrior, openly condemned Paris's actions. Hector was a paragon of duty, honor, and responsibility, traits that contrasted sharply with Paris's impulsive and self-indulgent behavior. He criticized Paris for bringing Helen to Troy, knowing well that this would provoke the Greeks. Paris, despite his initial role in sparking the war by abducting Helen, was not renowned for his prowess on the battlefield. His actions during the Trojan War were marked by moments of bravery overshadowed by instances of cowardice, especially when compared to his brother Hector. His reluctance to engage in hand-to-hand combat and his reliance on archery were seen as signs of weakness. Early in the war, Paris faced Menelaus in a duel to settle the conflict and determine Helen's fate. This encounter was meant to end the war without further bloodshed. However, during the duel, Paris was quickly overpowered by Menelaus. Only the intervention of Aphrodite saved him from certain death. This event further cemented the negative image of Paris. He was viewed with considerable disdain by the Greeks, who saw him as a symbol of dishonor and cowardice. Paris's role in the death of Achilles was also controversial. Paris did not kill Achilles through direct combat. Instead, his death was facilitated by the intervention of the god Apollo, who guided Paris's arrow, ensuring that it struck Achilles in his one vulnerable spot, his heel. Paris's reliance on a distant weapon and divine aid to kill Achilles was seen as an act of cowardice and was perceived as dishonorable. Soon after the death of Achilles also came the end of Paris. According to the myth, Paris was killed by an arrow tipped with the poison of the Lernaean Hydra, a deadly creature slain by Heracles. This arrow was wielded by Philoctetes, who used the bow and arrows of Heracles. After Paris was mortally wounded, he sought out Oenone, hoping that she could save him from the poison. Despite their past relationship and her knowledge of healing arts, Oenone chose not to aid him. Paris had left her for Helen, causing a deep sense of betrayal and heartbreak. After Paris's death, Oenone, consumed by remorse and grief, threw herself in the flames of Paris's funeral pyre. Paris's demise, marked by the poisoned arrow and Oenone's refusal to save him, adds a layer of tragic irony to his story. Paris's actions can be analyzed as a manifestation of deep psychological flaws. As a youth, his abandonment and subsequent upbringing as a shepherd likely fostered feelings of insecurity and a need for validation. His decision to abduct Helen reflects impulsivity and a quest for instant gratification, driven more by the allure of Aphrodite's promise than by rational consideration of consequences. This act of selfishness ignited the Trojan War, showing a profound failure to grasp the broader impact of his desires. Throughout his life, Paris struggled with self-control, choosing personal satisfaction over duty and honor, which further alienated him from both the Greeks and his own people. His reliance on divine aid in battle rather than direct combat underscores his avoidance of true responsibility and honor. What do you think? Was Paris a hero or a coward? Should Oenone have saved Paris? Comment down below. Thank you for watching.